Hey everybody, it's Bust with Expedition Trial number 482. Before we dive in, I did want to talk about the roadmap that was just released, and so if you're wanting to jump straight into the draft, you can go down to the little description box and push the push the skip forward thing. I don't know, I always put those timestamps in here, but right, it did release the upcoming roadmap for the next 5 months or so, and it's pretty exciting to me. I think a lot of the big things to stop and consider in terms of Runeterra. It's still just a very new game, right? A lot of times I try to consider like how much the World of Warcraft has really just like fucked over all the other games that were ever made. Because in the sense, it's like World of Warcraft has been around so long and so many people have played it and had some kind of interaction with it. And whether you enjoyed PVE and raids or dungeons or like going to Goldshire and RPing or just sitting around and crafting shit or gathering or collecting all the mounts or like whatever you like to play World of Warcraft for, like something was in there for you. And that most certainly wasn't the case like right when the game was released. And like the I don't believe the first raid was in the game. Most of the top end content wasn't in the game. The crafting was very limited. PvP wasn't a thing other than just like going and killing a random person. Like there's just been like so much added to the game over the course of its existence that whenever a new MMO came out, like everything that was in WoW was expected of it now. And so you had to have cool cosmetics, you had to have cool mounts, you had to have transmogs, you had to have PvP, you had to have an arena, you had to have battlegrounds, you had to have small dungeons, you had to have big dungeons, you had to have raids. It was like the expectations for every future game were just like so fucking gigantic. And I think that we see a bit of that with Runeterra here. There's like a few things going on with it in terms of everything always gets compared back to Magic. I think that's kind of fair, but they're still trying to find their footing and where Runeterra is going to live for the future. And it is kind of interesting seeing these roadmaps and the things that they call out. They're removing Expedition. Path of Champions is far and away the most common format or the most played format, and there's a lot of changes to what it sounds like the future of ranked and the kind of balance cadence for constructed, and I think it's all fair and fine and good. And of course, everyone hates change, and as change comes in, people always get upset about it and go and bitch about it on Reddit. But I think it's all fairly positive, the things that are coming out of this, and that kind of like led into my first point is I feel like most of my viewers and a lot of the people that go out and seek content creation, whether or not it's on YouTube or on Twitch, tend to fall within like the more competitive aspect of things. And then they also, your standard like kitchen table magician probably isn't going out and watching Twitch streams all day. They just want to play a couple of games of Magic with their buddies. Maybe you get to play a game with the wife and kids at night, and then you're just kind of done with it. You aren't sitting around like trolling through Channel Fireball and watching streams and getting up to 17 lands and learning all the new draft strategies. Like that's like a completely different world for these people. And I think that the way it's kind of panned out in Magic and what we see here are the people that are heavily invested in Constructed go and seek out the people also playing Constructed, and they are kind of like a world apart from this massive existence of more casual type players. And I think Magic has had kind of this weird history with it. I don't think that they ever really knew what to do with the crowd. Like Magic, Mark Rosewater out of the Magic camp has always said, since like the dawn of him talking to the internet, that kitchen table magicians just blew away competitive play in terms of money spent. But I don't think they ever really had a way to kind of like target them. It's like, what do? You just print more cards and they go out and buy them. But there was never a way to kind of like focus on the casual crowd. And it took, I don't know, almost 30 years for like the Magic community to come up with the Commander format, and then Commander kind of like disseminating and becoming the kind of de facto sort of casual format that people go to and are driven to. And like once that kind of caught on and popped, Wizards started kind of going hog wild in terms of printing commander specific cards, like whether it's the standalone decks, the commander set series, printing like commander specific things into constructed. Take it how you will with even the companion mechanic in Magic and kind of the ruining it did to Magic there for a while. But it's like Wizards has finally figured out how to approach the casual crowd, and that does even cause some rifts within Magic when there's a set release like every 3 weeks, and people wanting to buy all the cards and having to kind of gracefully accept that a piece of the puzzle just isn't for you. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing happen here with Runeterra, except just much more quickly. Is they're realizing the casual crowd is the moneymaker, and then the Path of Champions is where those people want to be, and they actually have the opportunity to kind of cater to that crowd as opposed to catering to the competitive crowd and then just letting the thing filter over to those people. And so I don't think it's anything negative in terms of what we'll see in Constructed. Riot's still going to come out and support Constructed and everything. I think it's just fantastic that it didn't take them 28 years to figure out what the casual crowd wants, and they're able to take advantage of it really during the birthing years of the game. And so I think that's all good and well. That does, kind of transition over to the constructed side of things. They did mention that they're going to stop coverage on all of the seasonal championships and then just focus completely on Worlds. It's in the video. I didn't see it real quickly as we scrolled through there. I think that's what we're going to see the majority of these games do. The broadcasting cost for these things are expensive. We saw this happen in Magic as well. As to where Star City has, kind of taken over the competitive Magic scene. Wizards seems to be kind of backing out of it, but Star City has mentioned that it's too expensive to maintain the broadcast coverage, and so they aren't doing that for the foreseeable future. And that's one of the things that I think people don't really grasp as you get into being a big competitive wizard. God, it's so easy to just call people wizards in Magic or magicians or something. I don't know what we're supposed to call people that play Runeterra, but the competitive scene in large part is an advertisement for the game, and it's great for Riot to be able to put out a big flashy number and attach it to an event. That's what catches tweets and gets articles out there in the kind of Kotakus and general gaming spaces of the world that then in turn bring attention into the game. It's just a big advertisement, and there's always people that want to be the world champion of making money as far as card gaming is concerned, and they want to make the big dollars with all the prize money. But I think everyone is kind of like up and aware that that's not really a thing anymore, especially since circling back, the casual crowd is where all of the money is, and so I'm not really surprised to see Riot take a stance to where they're not going to cover seasonals. They're going to switch to just really covering Worlds and having that be their kind of premier and marquee flagship event. And so that even strikes me as seeing with Eternal. That's another big card game out there. I was looking to switch over to Eternal when Expeditions went away, and I did notice that they just had their World Championship maybe a week or two ago, and the view count on YouTube for the second day of competition was sitting at 900 views. And so I mean, I think that can clearly show you some of the downfalls and pitfalls of sinking large amounts of resources into these competitive events. You see Magic, their competitive scenes being revamped, and I don't really expect too many games to go beyond just having this big world championship. But I assure you, if there is will and desire for a competitive series out there, someone will carry the torch and get that up and going. Whether or not these things just get pushed towards Giant Slayer or whoever else, somebody will do it. There's always money out there to be made. And if there's money to be made, somebody will do it. So I know Giant Slayer does their thing. The Mastering Runeterra people are putting out their weekly tournament series. I wouldn't be surprised to see them branch out as well. And then in terms of Riot stuff, I thought it was really cool the way the Magic Online, or I should say Magic Arena, handles their championship series is to where it's not the championship series, it's the monthly thing, as to where you buy into day one of an event. If you do well enough, you get into day two, and then day two is just another gauntlet to where you get cash prizes based on how well you did in the gauntlet. And I thought that was something that could be even pretty interesting in replacing seasonals, as to where you have like a day one event where you just play as many gauntlets as you want until you get the prime glory or the 5 wins, whatever you call it, and then you move on to the second day, to where you just do a second gauntlet and get prizes based on that. So day one, you can join as many times as you want. Day two, you get the one shot for it. And so it does push away from the covered and the Twitch coverage and all that stuff. But I think it's usually something that's pretty nice for the competitive scene to have access to, and maybe something like that would be in Runeterra's future. And so the last part of the patch notes I wanted to talk about was just kind of the balance slash set release cadence. A lot of people bitching about Riot moving on to just people bitching everywhere, moving on to the 2 month cadence of patch releases and balance patches, I should say. And then I think that they plan to jump back to the 6 releases a year. They made notes in there that they're no longer going to be doing a set is comprised of 3 expansions, 1 big expansion, 2 little expansions, like we just saw through here, like where they released Beyond the Bandlewood as the set containing Bandle City, and then you had the Magical Misadventures expansion, and then we just recently got the Curious Journey expansion, or whatever it's called. And it's neat to see that they're planning on just kind of spacing things out. I would assume that they're just going to be still doing like the 6 sets a year. They didn't really like touch in heavily on what the overall goal for all of these was. But I still think that the way that we're going to see this cadence coming forward is we're going to see a new set of card release. That's going to be 1 month. The next month, we're going to get a balance patch. Month after that, you get a card release. Months after that, you get a balance patch. And then with all the card releases, they always just balance stuff anyways, right? As we saw with this most recent release, they went in and nerfed Ari a bit. They changed a couple other cards I don't remember, but it seems like they come in and do that as well. And so I think it'll be kind of interesting, especially in terms of if they don't focus completely on all of the factions in every release. And so I feel like they've kind of hinted to that a little bit in there with all their talk of Yordles. I know that it's been kind of Yordle City with the release of Bandle City over the past 6 months, but I do think it's kind of interesting if you release the Brawlers expansion containing your new Renekton's and your Scions and all your top lane bros, and then the ADC expansion comes out later with the new Caitlyn's and all the like. And so I think it'd be kind of interesting if they take that space to not just do what everyone has done forever, to where you just have kind of a balanced approach to releasing all of the cards each expansion. And so, but we'll see where that comes. I still feel pretty good about the amount of balancing that they've been doing, and the probably the amount that we'll see showing up here in the future. So I guess the last thing in there, they did mention Jhin being a factionless champion, if you will. He does take up a champion slot, but doesn't count towards any of the factions, and then he has a deck building requirement attached to him. And so in the case of Jhin, his faction is playing skill cards. And so if you get the skills out of your any of the factions, so you can play a deck containing Arachnoid Sentry, and then you can not have any other Noxus cards in it. And so it seems kind of neat. It's a pretty cool design space that they're taking up there as well. And I have to say, I'm pretty happy with how these things are going. And so that was all well and good. They did, I guess the big one, we talked a lot of Path of Champions. They did show up the Path of Champions 2.0 release coming out. And we'll just have to check it out, I'm not really sold on any of the real like future progression of this channel. And if the Path of Champions is cool, then I'm up for it. Again, as I've always kind of mentioned, my problem with the Path of Champions as it is there's no real progression of difficulty to it. It's a decline in difficulty, if you will, as to where you start out at level 1, your champion kind of sucks, and then you go through and lose because your champion sucks, but you get an upgrade at the end, and then it's just kind of a matter of seeing if you can win at level 7 or level 9 or level 12. I get a lot of the appeal to that kind of system, because even if you go through the trial and lose, it still feels like you win because you progressed your champion. But I'm more in tune with the competitive flavors of things, a la Slay the Spire, as to where the game is its most easiest at level 1, and then it gets more challenging as you go. And that's what I would kind of like to see, but who knows? I'm not exactly sure what we'll see out of the Path of Champions. Sounds like they have big plans for it, and so it might be an interesting space to explore. But we'll just have to kind of wait and see with that and see what turns up. But nonetheless, after all that chit chat, we're here for the expeditions. Let's get us a trial in. And so somebody cool going to show up here. And yeah, let's play Aurelion Sol. Why not? It's like I see this Enlightenment Karma and just say, ooh, no, oh no, not doing that. Not a huge fan of the Foxy Ninjas Kennen. Just not a particularly strong archetype. And then Aurelion Sol, it's always kind of an interesting one. And so we can get this pulled up on the site. This is an older archetype, so we can do some chit-chatting about it. And let's see what lives in this one. And so, yeah, like the things with these Aurelion Sols, whether it's Dragon's Descent or Otherworldly Journeys, is they just have the absolute best end game in the game, right? Aurelion Sol is the most powerful champion in the game, if you will. He does have the 10 mana price tag to get that level of strength, but he's incredibly strong. The invokes are incredibly strong. Just the top end late game of Aurelion Sol and Targon is the best of the best. Now the problems they have, their early game all sucks, right? There's not a ton of stuff to do here in the early game, and then the early game we do have tends to be weak as it is, right? Starry Scamp and Startled Stomper is really the only cheap plays that we see here. And then there's also no interactivity, and so we are not finding cards like Sunburst in this archetype. Excuse me, and then Sunburst is really just as good as it gets. You can find a handful of combat tricks, but there's no removal, no good stuns. It's just basically top end or bust here. And so the way I look to look at this Dragon's Descent is we're probably just going to have to take whatever Demacia champion shows up and then move into Dragons. And then the big thing with the Targon-based dragons would be Herald of Dragons. Incredibly powerful, incredibly high-rolly, right? This is, if we play this on 2, follow up with a White Flame Protector on 3, and then follow up with a Fused Firebrand on 4, that's an incredibly, incredibly powerful set of stats for our opponent to have to come in and try and overcome. And it's really, really tough to deal with if your opponent can't interact with it. Now, the downsides to this are what happens if we draw Herald of Dragons on turn 7? Then it's just completely dead. Or what happens if we play Herald of Dragons and then opponent plays like a 3-attack challenger, a 3-2 challenger, whatever. They play the Petricite Dragon Eater, whatever his name is, the 2-cost formidable dragon, right? It just takes down the Herald of Dragons. Opponent gets a free trade, and then we're just behind from that point forward. And so a lot of these decks do end up based on Herald of Dragons. But the risk is often worth the reward in his terms. But here, these cards also suck, right? Wish is pretty bad. Zenith Blade is okay, but it's not like ultra ideal in a Dragon's deck. So here we do actually have 2 options, right? We did get shown the Pantheon. Pantheon does love having a Zenith Blade in his deck. I could see an argument for Aurelion Sol also being okay, because like one of the problems we'll see with Pantheons are, we've like heavily invested into one unit, and then our opponent just plays Vengeance on it, right? And we need some way to recover after we've played our unit with like 3 and 4 spells on it. And then, Aurelion Sol is not a bad way to recover. And so I could see that being a thing, and it's not a bad start here with the Mountain Goat and the Hush. If we want to jump into Demacia, the Quinn is okay. I know the Screeching Dragon does live in Relentless, so we have some ways to pick up additional dragons, and this does have some pretty good early game in our opening pack and within the archetype, so Quinn is an option as well. The non-option here is the Playful Pranks Fizz. There's just no synergies between these 2 archetypes. I want to stay away from that one. And so, yeah, with this one, I think I'm actually just going to go with the Pantheon here. We're looking like pretty close to being a Pantheon deck, starting with the Zenith Blade. The Wish, I could actually see being a non-zero amount of useful here. Like, it's typically useful level is 0, but if we assemble some of these games to where we're making the giant faded unit and the opponent's just slamming damage on it, maybe the Wish turns out to be okay. But I think we'll go with the Pantheon here. I wouldn't fault you for taking the Quinn. These are both reasonably strong archetypes and both reasonably strong pairings. Okay, so as we look to move into this Pantheon, the big thing we're going to be looking for are the faded units, right? So if we see a faded unit, we're going to want to take it, and then otherwise, we're needing the cards that generate spells. And so Mountain Goat is a premier one, Gift Giver is pretty good, and that's what we're seeing here out of this middle pack. I'm not excited about jumping into Bandle City. We could do it. This pairs off with the Pecs and Pets pairs off with Yumi, but it kind of cuts down on our chances of finding the good faded unit. Okay, this set, not that great. Again, I don't really want to jump into Bandle City down here to the left. I'm going to go with the Priestess Star Shaping, just really give us a nice collection of top end here. Coming out of this one, do we want to go for the memes in the Targon's Peak? This isn't the pick. The pick is the Pale Cascade Blinded Mystic, but as expeditions wind down, we do have to just go for it every once in a while. So let's take the Targon's Peak, see what we can get going with that. And then here we do see a Demacia pack show up at the end. I'm not opposed to taking this. I'm like, we've gotten to pick 6. We haven't seen any of the one cost faded unit. We haven't seen any gift givers. The only real Pantheon build around cards we have are these 2 Mountain Goats along with a Zenith Blade that doesn't have a friend. I kind of think I'm okay with actually switching into dragons at this point and using that to try and take advantage of Targon's Peak. It's here for the memes, baby. Let's see what we can do. And so, all right. So moving forward, I'm not opposed to this Captain Erika pack. She's a fantastic target for a Targon's Peak. And then we have a good early game play here in the Badger Bear. There is the Saga Seeker here to the right. I think I'm okay with skipping on being a faded deck. We're just not going to do that anymore. I'm not opposed to playing Saga Seekers, but this pack here with Captain Erika is just too on point for what we're trying to do. I think we might actually just try to be a triple Aurelian Soul deck here today, now that we've picked up the Targon's Peak. But okay, into the next pack, we do have to focus on our early game a bit, and this is a pretty powerful early game collection down here with the Mage Seeker and the Egghead, so that looks pretty good to me. Interesting interactive package here with the second Molten Breath. I worry about us being able to actually play this thing. We only have 2 dragons at this point, right? We have Aurelian Soul Screeching Dragon. I guess technically it's Fury units, right? We can level up our Pantheon and have him catch Fury and then play Molten Breath. But I worry about this happening. So I'm going to go with the Stand Together Blinded Mystic, just as they are cards that we can assuredly play. Okay. So here I'm going to go with the cheaper plays and the Cythria and the Honored Lord. The Starry Scamp is pretty meh. The Sky Shadows we're never going to activate. The Dragon's Clutch can be okay, but I don't think we need it. I'd rather just play cards like Egghead Researcher, and then the Dustbringer is just worth than Cythria. So, but not super on point with the 1-drops there, but I think they'll be okay. And here, Dragon Guard Lieutenant's fantastic. We can hopefully activate him with some regularity. It's a little odd seeing all these Dustbringers turn up, but hopefully we can just trade them away or something. Okay, so pretty important Zenith Blade here as well. Like, the first one is incredibly bad. The second one improves drastically once you can get access to the free copy. And then it's got a great early game play here in the Egghead. Looking good. I like this double dragon pack here as well. We haven't gone like overboard on top end, and these are both nice mid-game plays. So let's snatch up those dragons. And the last one before we get out of here, I think this is just going to be our Saga Seeker pack. I'm not opposed to having multiples if we stand together. We are like early game looks decent enough now. It's not a disaster. I just don't think we're going to use the Saga Seeker too much. Okay, Screeching Dragon looks good. I'd love to get rid of this Wish, right? This card is not very good, but Towering Stonehorn is not the top end we're looking for. So, Screeching Dragon, fantastic ender. Okay, so you all know what time it is. We do have to go and turn something premium. Let's take a peek at what we have as our options. Not going to be too many commons, I do believe, but I hope for it every time, you know. We didn't draft any Yulias. How about the spells? No field promotions, no bastions, no landmarks. All right, on to the rares. What do we got here? Herald of Dragons didn't make an appearance, unfortunately. Don't have the Mage Seeker. Oh my goodness, are we going epic today? There's got to be a rare, right? Got to be a rare. We Stand Together can go. All right, saving us here. Molten Breath it's kind of a better upgrade, right? Because it puts the little prismatic circle on the board, but we stand together a little bit stronger. That's what we're going to look to upgrade today. That's what Riot really needs to get to be doing, right? We just talked about the roadmap for like 45 minutes. It didn't make any note of what happens when you make a card premium and then it's a burst spell and your opponent just doesn't get to enjoy it. That's kind of shitty, right? I wish they would put some like swirls on the screen or something that says, oh shit, this brother's living the pay to win life. Let's let everyone in the game enjoy this and put some flashies on the screen. So if you're the intern at Riot, feel free to take that right up to the top. Go in there, bust in on some meetings and say, oh guys, I got an idea. You know these burst cards. They aren't flashy enough. Everyone doesn't get to enjoy them when they're premium. Right to the top, dude, at Riot. You'll get a promotion and shit. All right. End of the game. What's happening here? Seems like opponent is AFK with this Lee Sin Kennen deck. Might have dropped his phone in the toilet. It's been known to happen on occasion. Do we got an opponent? I'm coming at you. I'm bringing the aggression. I don't think this guy's here. Well, it didn't just like kick him out of the game, but doesn't seem like we're battling an opponent. Oh, here he is. Oh my goodness. I don't think this attack is super worthwhile. We're not an aggressive deck. We're going to be here a while. We're trying to take advantage of our big dragons and our Aurelian souls. And if we can trade the Duskbringer for a 3-2, then I'd feel a little bit better about that. Get this deck up here. I don't know why the deck tracker isn't on the screen. The app is loaded. Maybe if I close it and open it again. The historical fixer of all things computer. All right. Well, how do we feel about actually blocking one of these? It's just 1 point of damage. We have some heal in our hand. Let's just be slow. We get to now trade the Dustbringer for the Blade Scout. That would be pretty okay. Whoa, coming in with the rush. All right. You don't see that one too often. All right, let's drop the Priestess. I was considering maybe we just play Zenith Blade, but I'd like to find a nice mid-game play here if we can. The Golden Sister is a little expensive, but I think the lifesteal unit here might be pretty important. His opponent comes in and says, "Nah, I'm gonna make that Golden Sister cost 8. F you, buddy." But no, this is fine. We just got to get some time here. We did double up on our Zenith Blades, which is fairly crappy, but. Oh, Balls of the Dragon. But if we can survive for just a little bit, things will be okay. Badger Bear was a fantastic draw. Nice, just shutting down everything. Beautiful, beautiful. Alright, here comes El Screecherino. The Screeching Dragon as it is. I'm ready. I'm ready for this. Just drops Kennen. Interesting. It's like kind of tempting to just like not even bother attacking with the Badger Bear. I don't want to trade it for a combat trick. Let's just take this one. Take the elusive. We can't block it. And just give ourselves a little bit of time to improve. If this is like a Twin Disciplines, it's fantastic. Recall, that's great. Give us plenty of time here. That's not a unit he was playing if you didn't notice. And then a little gem of knowledge for you. Don't play Retreat it's when the Shadow Assassin is summoned. I take it back. I thought this was a play ability on the card draw. I was going to say don't use your play abilities on the Retreat because it just doesn't do anything, but lesson learned. Sure. All right, that feels pretty good. Sure, you stunned our dragon. He gets a good value hook onto the Lunari Priestess, and then the rest of these attacks are just actual trash. Actual trash, I tell you. Real trash. None of that fake trash. Okay, I'll block that. I got this 2-1 that's been sitting around all game, ready to come in and block. Finally getting your time in the sun. Cool. So as this moves on, I'm looking to put Zenith Blade onto the Screeching Dragon. I don't want to be like attacking with the dragon and losing it in combat. I don't really care if we lose Golden Sister or Silver Sister at this point, and then we should be able to like just protect our units in combat, withstand together. But the Screeching Dragon is our big interactive package here. I guess the downside to this is if he plays like a Homecoming, then we've invested pretty heavily in this dragon to where if he Homecomings the Golden Sister, then we get to resummon and do stuff. Yeah. We could get the block for the free health, but we're going to gain so much health, I don't think it matters. Whimsy. I don't approve of that shit. We'll play another card. You gonna play Twin Disciplines on us? Sure. Oh dear. Looking good. He's down to 1 card. All of his units are garbage. We have a ton of value in our hand between Star Shaping generating stuff, Egghead Researcher generating stuff. I think we're in a pretty prime position here. Sure. Big old dragon. Welcome to the party. Looking like a pretty good board, am I right? I think we can even get around the big tempo plays that come out of these decks, right? It usually sucks a lot if he's playing Homecoming onto the Broodmother, but our board is so big at this point. Not nearly as worried about what he has going on. We'll take the Young Witch. It's technically a 2-attack elusive, sort of like the Shadow Assassin. I mean, I get that it's not exactly how it works, but it's a much more powerful unit than this. Totes my goats. All right. I was sitting here trying to do the math in my brain if we could play the Broodmother and play the Star Shaping in the same turn. We could. I had to stop and look at the little mana boxes, but you're going to have 5 left over. All right, and we're going in, aren't we? We're going for the Aurelian Soul. I would love it if we could find a way to get a second Targon's Peak, but this is what we're doing. This is a pretty expensive package. Hopefully we don't get overrun with expensive stuff here, but boom, Aurelian Soul it is. All right, on to the next one. I know what everybody out there has been thinking. They say, Bust, how's that hydroponic herb garden coming along? Hey, that. Got that shit for Christmas? Everybody already forgot about it? It's going good. Thanks for asking. I used some of my cilantros last night. It was nice. I found the problem. I drew like 1 thing of dill, and it's tough. It's tough to find uses for dill, not gonna lie. I made some Super Bowl deviled eggs, but I gotta find something to do with all that shit now. It's growing like a fucking weed. We've used some of the basil as well. The ones that I've like never heard of but never used didn't actually grow in. I don't know what Summer Savory is, but that didn't take. What was the other one? Targon. That sounds exotic. never used it. Apparently not going to, but it's all coming in quite nicely. Nice little science project growing in the kitchen. Get in loads of trouble when the grow lights they'll stay on like well into the evening, and it gets me in a bit of trouble with the wife. you gotta see those shits when you're sitting there just trying to watch TV or something, and you have the lights blaring. We'll get it moved at some point, but just a little bit of trouble. But all right, back to the action here. What are we doing? We're never going to get a Challenger Honored Lord, which is fine. I think the Dustbringer here is okay. But I think we're just kind of in this space like we were in the previous game, to where we're just not in a hurry to do anything. So the unfortunate thing here is like we don't have the stand together to make a big 3 mana attack next turn, or make an attack with the 3 spell mana bank. This isn't, I guess, the end of the world. At worst, we're just losing out on 1 mana here. He's playing Pantheon, but has 0 ticks on him. That's not the scariest thing we're going to encounter today. A little scarier. I give you that. A little scarier. I'm looking to go with the Firebrand and then try and take him down with a Molten Breath next turn. It's like a little scary if that goes wrong, though. I think I might prefer to just give something Challenger, that's something being fused Firebrand, and just slamming it into Pantheon next turn. We want to put any stats in front of this? It's like, I'm kind of okay with, like, I know this only prevents 1, but we're like getting really close to just having to override it anyways. All right, we'll give that some time. But right, if we say give the Dragon Challenger, which we're gonna do, and then hook Pantheon, if he has any spell, then the spell will get him out of this. Targon doesn't have a big wad of spells they could be playing. They just have the give 2 units +2/+1 kind of thing, but Targon, of course, has a million. And I think this might be the space where we just attack with everything. Like, I'm kind of thinking, how does this go, right? The disaster of a turn here would be if we hook Mountain Goat with our 5/5, and then he has the stand together for the +1/+2 to 2 units, so he gets to both the Pantheon. He basically, hang on, what's this? Just stunning? What? Stunned the wrong one. Okay. Actually, let's hook the Otterpuss down here. Because I'm okay with like any of these other blocks across his units taking down our smaller bros. I think this is fine. Put some damage onto Pantheon. Good. Opens us up for a better opportunity at a Molten Breath, which I think we should be able to come through with. Hi, Brozilla. What you got for us? Just a gym? It's going to be an open. That kind of sucks if he's going to open on us. Not the hugest fan of just falling to 3. Play something. Play a card, dude. Play a card. Feck. Oh, yeah, play a card. Come on. Put that unit on the board. Spell Shield. Ugh. Does Spell Shield get through Molten Breath? That does not do what we want, apparently. Alright, so we're just gonna have to block him this turn. Spell Shield falls off after this turn, so we might be able to get him next turn. Let's just get ourselves in a space to where we can prevent a ton of damage. It says, oh shit, what spell was Bust advertising? I saw that circle come out on the board. Isn't that a fantastic piece of technology, the Oracle's Eye? There's just like so many potential rules questions that come up with so many aspects of these games. It is pretty nice just having that button that says, hey, this is what's going to happen, even if it doesn't work how we want all the time. Okay, so here's the start. What? This is killing Pantheon. Oh, it hits the 2 weakest enemies. Oh. Well, that makes sense. Thanks for telling me, guys. Thanks for telling me. We gotta kill some of these shits. Wow, he goes lifesteal this turn. Interesting. So we're not going to be able to kill him. We can ace the dude's board. And then we do have a star shaping for next turn when things ultimately go south. I'm going to attack with the Honored Lord. If he wants to attach more damage to Pantheon, that feels like a win. Right, he's going to gain 1 health. I'm not super worried about him going from 19 to 20. So that 3 damage onto Pantheon would get him into kill range. Is he going to flip? How close is that shit? He'll flip with the next card that gets played. I'm not a huge fan of seeing the Trickster come online. I mean, we can technically get the Fused Firebrand up to 9 and try to Molten Breath next turn. I just don't think that's real. And so, let's just go ahead and Molten Breath now. It's going to get the Trickster off of the board. And then if he hits if he hits Elusive, we're dead. If he hits Double Strike, we're dead. But this gives us a bit of protection against... Oh man, I see him. I see him at 1 and seeing that gem in our hand. Bastion. Okay. All right, we'll squeeze them cheeks, boys. Scout kills us, Double Strike kills us, Elusive kills us, and then if we get to untap next turn, we should be fine. He hits Scout. There's not going to be anything for this little mana that'll get us out of this. We could go to 1. Yeah, okay. Should have just been a little bit more aggressive on that Pantheon. That's one of those like weird spaces you'll run into, as to where you just have to like keep throwing damage on him over and over again. But he did have quick attack there though, and so we didn't have tons of opportunities to just like block damage onto him, right? Uh-oh, this guy doesn't give a damn. Oh, snap. People getting sassy out here today. Alright, maybe we do keep the White Flame here. It should be a fairly meaty drop. If he's like going elusive on us, this is going to feel kind of bad, but oh, Yumi's over here on the left. But maybe he's not. Aggro. And the goat now. Okay. If his play here is like Gringlade Duo, then this is going to feel like a huge win. But if we just have to trade, that's probably fine. We have pretty good mid-game here with the White Flame and the Egghead. I'll take the Faded unit off, given the chance. Okay.
Mama's home.
With a little time, I'll have a breakthrough.
Take a look at this.
Take a look at this. All right, now we get the white flame down. Pretty juicy board.
We're off on a new adventure.
Sure.
Time to get my hands dirty.
Here comes the squad. So yeah, the old Yumi elusives. At least she's attacked to Bandle Commando and not attached to that. As we've run into issues with that being attached to the elusive lifesteal unit. But if we need to like deal with this on our next attack, we can give our 5/3 challenger and try and take it down that way. Which I think we're looking to do. I'm going to play Honored Lord, bank the 3 mana, so that we can stand together if we need to, and then the plan is to put Cadrigen onto the Protector and hook in on Bandle Commando. ASol, what up? Welcome to the party, my dude. Welcome to the party, my dude. Oh, fuck. Those things are fucking annoying. Okay.
Nothing escapes my
I don't think we're gonna beat this elusive now. We're just so far behind. Fuck. It's 6. Alright, we picked up a challenger. Hopefully that's enough. We have to be in the space to open with it as well. Alright, dude. Well, here it comes. I hope you're ready. All the chips are on the table. Keeps adding stuff. Alright, well, he's dropped below 4 mana now, so he's like not gonna play a homecoming on his turn. Not to say that he can't do it when we open next turn, but let's see. How aced do we get by this Windsinger? I guess that's the new question. If he plays a Windsinger, can we still kill the Bandle Commando? It's going to come down as a 4 attack. We stand together, only gets it to a 5. It's way too expensive.
time to get my hands dirty.
Seems so obvious here. Hang on. I think we're at the space to where we just can't beat it, right? Oh my gosh. we're getting popped with Homecoming. That's 100% gonna happen. Fuck. Man, this was such a cool deck too. This is such a bummer to lose.
I'll follow where I can.
Alright, well he has to block, so we don't have to just spew the We Stand Together right at the start, but he's just like 100% gonna bounce or stun our Screeching Dragon. Get ready for sadness. The Yumi's gonna flip and give Spell Shield to this dum-dum. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, did we do it? No way. No way. Alright. Well, hopefully we did. Hopefully we didn't give up too much board to make that happen. But all right, I just assumed all was lost. Maybe we could have like pick and chose that attack like a little bit better, I guess, in terms of just not losing all of our blockers. We had to be lethal though. 10, 12. Fuck. Loping telescope. You did it. What a bummer. Man, this deck was so cool too. We didn't get to play the Targon's Peak once. We didn't get Aurelian Soul down. God, all this is Bandle City stuff, man. Just ripping the fun away from the masses. But nonetheless, that is going to do it for us today. Again, not too much of a recap here. That deck came together kind of awkwardly as to where we wanted to draft Pantheon early. The Pantheon didn't come together, and we had to convert to dragons. Ideally, you won't get 6 picks into the draft before you have to make decisions like that, but that's where we were today. But I think everything that we put forth holds true. If you're drafting Pantheon, the big thing is finding the Fated unit. After finding the Fated unit, you have to find gift givers and mountain goats. And so as we went through the draft, I think we had like 1 mountain goat, 0 Fated units, and 0 gift givers at pick 6. That's the point where we decided, okay, well, I'm going to pick the Demacia cards and I'm going to move into dragons. But as we try and draft dragons, we covered off on all of that when we were talking about Aurelian Soul, as to where your interactivity is garbage. That's like the Yuumi game there was a fantastic example. So was the Pantheon game. It's just we have no way to deal with units other than just like throwing challengers at them. Like throughout the entirety of the draft, I know we saw 0 Sunburst, 0 Concerted Strike, 0 Detain. May have seen a single combat or two, but this is definitely not one of these decks to where you get like 2 real removal spells, 4 or 5 middling removal spells like you're typically looking to do, right? If you want to get a couple of combat tricks, a couple of mid-range removals, and a couple of real removals, we were just nowhere near that. And then we also didn't get to really like pick and choose our early game. You could see some of those plays where we had the Conservator that was just kind of awkward. We had the Honored Lord with no way to give it Challenger. We were just like really scraping the barrel to get those early game plays. And so we are also out here for the memes trying to play Targon's Peak plus Aurelian Soul. But a lot of the same concepts still apply, even if you're sliding the memes into your deck. And so it just didn't quite come together. I think we drafted it well. I don't think there's any real spaces to where we could have done that differently in terms of the draft. That last game we could have probably preserved a unit or two and pushed the game a little bit further, but I was pretty locked in on us just being dead dead to the Homecoming. That completely reeked of the Homecoming type card, the way that they were just passing with all that mana up and not adding units to the board. And so the key thing on that turn on that last game to figure out would have been, how do we deal or put 15 damage of units under the attack while still getting a challenge in. So that's what forces the opponent to react, right? The disaster there would be as if we attacked, we didn't present a lethal, and then opponent just says, okay, your dragon dies, I take some damage, and then the game just progresses, and I kill you with my Yuumi to elusive. And so, fair enough there, though. GG's all around. Unfortunately, we didn't take this one beyond 1 win, but it was already a 7 winner to begin with. So let's go ahead and come out here, click on these rewards, see where we're going, and we'll call it a day. It's been a good one for me. Wasn't the most successful in terms of wins. It was pretty successful in terms of fun. So, all right, what are we doing with Prismatics? Taking the unit, easy peasy. Welcome to the team, Durand Sculptor. Man, that's what they needed more of in the roadmap. Let's get some more Prismatics out here for Bust. That is cool, though. I'm surprised that they haven't taken more to making the premiums in terms of like the champion flip cards being unique and such, as to where your champion flips into Misfortune was the example, I guess. She flips into Make It Rain, but if you have the epic Misfortune, then you get some other kind of cosmetic on top of the card. I really liked how they're pushing that. I don't have any of the World Breaker stuff, but I thought it was really cool as well how if you used like World Breaker Elise, then all of your Broodlings had the different effect. I think they're doing really cool stuff in the cosmetic space, and that continues to really shine. If you go and look at Magic Arena and see what a shit show all their cosmetics are, they just look like absolute garbage to me. Just poorly skinned things and weird alternate arts, and it looks like you're playing like 9 different games worth of like decks when you have like random alternate arts and full arts and all these stupid looking things. There's not much cohesiveness to it, and so I really like what Riot's put together in terms of the cosmetics. But nonetheless, that is going to do it for us today. Hope everyone enjoyed the trial. You didn't get there on our own, but hopefully you learned how to clam Mount Targon with Aurelian Soul. Maybe you learned a thing or two along the way. Had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.